Hey guys, this is Steve. This is Cyber Pirate on Paintball Nation and Evil_Paintball on Instagram. One tip I have here for you today is filling your own tank. So if you're like us, you work on your guns, when you're not at the field, and you hope to get things tested out and ready to go. So when you get to the field, you can just air up and play. But what happens is, you're starting to do stuff and your tank runs out of air. Then what do? You're done until you can get more air. You have to wait to get back to the field. So I decided I was going to fix that so we could play out here and test guns and all that kind of thing. And so I went and bought a scuba tank. So I bought the red scuba tank there and paid about $100 for it at the local dive shop in town. It's about 6 years old, so it's been rehydrated once. They rehydrated the thing, and it works just like a normal paintball gun or tank does, where it's every 5 years it has to be rehydrated. This thing works great. I get about 8, 10, sometimes even like 16 fills out of this thing, which is great. When you're trying to fill it. Now, granted, it's not going to fill it to 3,000. Sometimes you're going to get 2,000, 2,500. Sometimes you only get like 1,000 out of it. Kind of depending on what happens with the gun. How much air you need, or how much air you have in the tank, and those kind of things. But it's enough to get a gun filled or tank filled so that you can shoot and test a gun, and it works pretty well. So I bought the tank, like I said, for about $100. I went on eBay and I bought this piece right here, so this top piece, which has the hose on it. So this is where you would put your tank and fill it. Works a lot like the ones at the field, but they have that box there, and you put your hose on the tank. You press the lever down and it fills, and when you let off, it makes that evil hiss and pop, letting the excess air out. This works a lot the same way, but it's all manual on that process. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take this. All right, so I got my end here. I've got my tank. Let me figure out where I'm at. Okay, so I'll put this guy on. One sec. Need both hands. All right, you can hear it click on. So it's on. It's solid. Find it there. There we go. Okay, so it's on here. It's good. Right now, this thing doesn't have a lot of air in it. It's almost empty. So we'll see what this thing fills up to. So right now, I'm at roughly less than 1,000. So it's not much air in this thing. I'm going to go ahead and try to fill. So what I'm going to do is, this is the lever on the actual tank. So I'm going to let that loose. Open it up. You can hear it filling the tank. So I'm letting it go. Okay, filled, it stopped. So I'm going to lock this, so turn that back off. And then there's this bleeder valve right here on this thing that I bought, this extra piece. This is the fill station. I'm going to, and you can hear it hiss, and that let out the excess air. There's a gauge up on top here that shows the pressure, and so you can see it's now down to 0. And when I take this off, my tank is now at about 2,000. My gauge here is a little cracked, but it's about 2,000 psi. So not bad. I mean, it filled it, about 1,500 psi, and gave us enough air so I can go put this on the gun and I can go test some more. I could probably shoot, 500-600 paintballs at least through that thing, depending on how efficient or inefficient my guns are, and be able to play for a little bit if I needed to. So, real nice, easy, cheap way to fill your guns and test things at home without having to go find a fill station. The tank refills varies. I mean, I've seen people say, their dive shop will refill it for $7. Ours is $10. The guy's real helpful. I mean, when I went and bought this, he put a new valve and everything on it, made sure it was all really good shape for me. Takes care of it. If I bring my tank in, he'll fill it with that too. And so, I can bring my tank in and get a good fill on it, plus the tank, the scuba tank. Great way, cheap way to keep guns going and be able to do it between times you go out to the field and not depend on the field for all your air. So that's a tip, and I hope you can find a dive shop or somebody has some scuba tanks and buy yourself one today. Thanks.